welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Tiffany and I am so grateful that you are here today. Today I want to talk about singleness, how singleness is actually a blessing and not a burden. I want to share my experience when I was single, what I learned, and how God helped me change the way I lived as a single. Before I get started, I just want to let you guys know it's not easy for me to share my personal and vulnerable side of my life. You know, YouTube is actually a public forum and many people have access to seeing this, and it can be a bit scary. It's almost like public speaking, you know? But I always believe that sharing our experiences, sharing our stories are what connects us. I'm just opening this channel and this space for us to do that. So let's get started with the story. So my story begins when I was previously engaged, which was, I would say 4 or 5 years ago, I was engaged. The relationship was kind of like an eye-opening for me. I know it may sound a bit weird, but it was like that relationship kind of catapulted me to go towards faith and towards God and just change my whole world, basically. The interesting part about that relationship, we had a lot of difficulties even before we had gotten engaged. But I was in that mindset of like, things will smooth out once we get married. But the saying goes, what you don't deal with before you get married gets magnified like 5 times when you become married. And that was just the case. Like, there were a lot of things going on in our relationship that I tried to ignore, that I tried to put off. And I truly believe that, you know, it can get better. But like I said, if you don't deal with it, it can get worse. And so there were a lot of inconsistencies in the relationship. I felt like we weren't on the same page with marriage, what we view as a healthy marriage. I grew up not seeing an example of a marriage in my childhood family lifestyle, and the same thing with him. You know, he did not have a healthy viewpoint of what marriage looked like. And so that right there was like a number one thing that we tried to ignore. I knew deep down inside that it didn't feel right. Like, it was almost like how a puzzle piece, we try to make things fit together, but it doesn't. I tried to make the relationship work because in my mind, I thought this was it. Like, I got to that level of fear and, if I'm being honest, desperation, because I was thinking about my age. I was thinking about if I had made that decision to leave him, would I find someone else? The fear of being alone, the fear of even not knowing what's going to happen next. It was just a lot of things that culture makes us believe that we got to make a relationship work. And like I said, for me, deep down, I knew that I wasn't comfortable in a relationship, that something wasn't right, something was missing. And I felt the more I tried to ignore it, the more fearful and the more unstable the relationship became. I would try to talk to him about it, but he was not emotionally connecting with me. I tried to ignore the signs. I tried to, pray it away and say, things will change, things will get better. This is it for me, and I'm going to make it work. And the more I did that, the more emotionally and spiritually I had gotten sick. As soon as we moved in, we just didn't see eye to eye. The communication wasn't great. We tried to go away on a trip, and, we tried to see if we can have a moment away from the house and just get in a different environment and try to spend time with each other and try to see if we can make it work. And again, when we were on a trip, we didn't escape from what was happening. And I think that was what we were trying to do, trying to escape. But your problems will always be there, especially if you don't resolve them. And it just it just wasn't a great vacation. Things started coming out in truth, and it just made matters even worse. And I just felt so hurt. There was just a lot of distrust in the relationship. And I couldn't settle with that distrust. Because for me, when you get married, you have to have that trust. That's the foundation of a relationship. If it's broken before you get married, what makes us think that it's actually going to get fixed when you're married? It doesn't work like that. And so when we came back from the trip, it took a couple days to just kind of like be alone. Even though we're in the same space, I just kind of told I just need a little space to think. And I called my mom and I talked to her about it. And I know that the Lord had used her to speak to me, because I remember in that moment, I was like on the phone telling her, like, I don't feel right about this. Something isn't right. Something is not giving me a sense of peace and comfort about it. And she just said, like, marriage is a serious thing. And if you know in your heart that this is not it, take a moment for yourself. Take a break. If you have to separate from him for a while just to get clear your mind and really think about it, then do that, No pressure. We're all here to support you. And we know how much you want to get married, but the right way. Getting that comforting words from her just helped a lot, but I still had to think through on what I was going to do. And I remember this one sermon that really hit it on the nail for me, really spoke to my heart and spoke to my mind what I needed to do. And this guy said, I can't really remember his name, but this guy said in a sermon that he said to God, God, don't send me anyone until you know I am ready. So it's basically saying this: I am surrendering my heart, my love life, my life to God, and waiting on God to be the one to say, now you're ready to meet the one or meet your soulmate. I am surrendering that love connection. I'm not going to be the one trying to find a man, try to build a relationship, or try to make it happen. I am letting that go, and I am giving it 100% to God. And when I heard that, let me tell you, it struck a chord in my heart, but it took time for me to process that, for me to meditate on that and really understand what I was about to do. Could I say those words and really mean it and follow through on it? I cried, I prayed, I just tried to do my best to comfort myself with those words and really just process what was said. And I just remember a breeze came through the window, and I just felt like the presence of the Lord just come around me. And I felt those words deep down inside of me say, I have something much better for you in your life, but I want you to come with me. Trust me. He was saying that this was not for you. This is not what I had planned for you. My plans are greater than what you're going through. I am your Father who loves you unconditionally. But daughter, I don't want to see you suffering like this, And, hearing those words, being comforted by those words, being reminded that I was loved by God, a love that passes all understanding. And I just remember saying to God, I hear what you're saying. And this is not the first time I felt like the presence of the Lord speaking to me. Many times before, I would try to ignore it, but this time, I guess I was at that vulnerable place. I hit that vulnerable moment where I became sensitive to hearing his voice. I basically told God, listen, if the decision is to end the engagement and walk away, I need you to give me strength, give me grace to do it. Because right now, I am like, my fears are getting the best of me and I don't know if I can do it. But at the same time, I don't know if I can say I do to this relationship. After that moment, again, I took a couple of days to think about it, and I just kept praying like, God, please give me the grace, give me the strength, give me the wisdom to do it, and let me be honest with this person. And I just remember one day I went into the kitchen and I explained to him that I think that it's best that we separate. I see that we are not building a healthy relationship. There are things that we need to figure out. We need to understand about ourselves. We need to be healed with some things that we're not dealing with. Our hearts are broken. You know, our perception, our minds on what we think marriage is not working. You can feel it in the environment that is not working. This is not a home. And if I don't feel like my home is you and your home is me, and we're not on the same page and there's a lot of distrust, this is not going to work. It was hard to do that, but I had to be honest. I don't want to hinder him from what God has for him, nor do I want to be in the way of God being able to talk to him and work with him. And the same thing with me. Now, when I was starting my journey towards God, he was not. And so, like the Bible said, I didn't want to be unequally yoked, but I just knew that I had to say no and walk away and just trust the Lord that he was going to do something great, that I was going to discover something even beautiful out of my experience being single. And I'm not saying that, like, you know, God was saying, I have somebody better for you. No. What God wanted was a relationship with me. He wanted to build a relationship with me. And he wanted to help me with the confusions that I had in my mind and my heart. Like, I wanted to discover who I was as a woman and how to be a single and how to use or even identify the gifts and talents that he has given me to help others, to serve others, and to serve him. It was like a journey of discovery and transformation, but I wanted to learn who God was and who I am in Christ. And so we ended up parting ways. It was not, you know, he took it really hard, but we were both in silence as we were moving our things. And as I began my journey with singleness, I was not looking forward to it, but I just felt that this time it was going to be different. I was single even prior, before meeting my ex, but this time was different because I started to follow the Lord. Before that, I wasn't following Christ. Inviting God doesn't mean that he forces himself in your life. No, he takes his time. He's very patient with us, like extremely patient with us. Through the good, through the bad, through the ugly, he takes his time with us. My broken engagement was the best blessing that God could have given me. It drew me closer to him. It drew me closer to understanding who I was. It allowed me to be strong in my season as a single and not allow people to tear me down based on what they think singles are: unhappy, incomplete, or lacking in something. I wasn't lacking anything. Ignore the distractions around you that are telling you there's something wrong with you. No, there's nothing wrong with you. Being single is truly a blessing. My happy ending is that I found God. I came to salvation. I surrender my life. That's something that needs to be celebrated. When you learn how to let God sit on the throne of your heart, it's going to be an amazing experience. Let him bring you comfort. Let him bring you peace. And let him show you what true love is. I hope that this video was encouraging for you. And I am so grateful that you guys were here today to hear this story. Have a blessed week, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.